Next up, which of last season's changes would you like to see stay, and which should go? As part of that, what would you do differently? That's from Grant Hill. That's not the Grant Hill, but it is the Grant Hill.
You go first.
What would I like to see changes, and then what would like to stay? I'd like to see. Yeah, that's a good question. So from last season, I mean, I don't know if anybody noticed. I've no interest in the All-Star game. I'm not sure
Wasn't
how they'd
mentioned.
fund that either. Obviously, it would be. I'm struggling to see how they'd fund finals unless they're in teams that own venues, because there's a new league. I'm not financially. It's not clear how that's going to work at the moment. So even the sort of playoff final at the O2. So things I'd like to see change. Definitely keep a trophy. The more I think about it, the more I'd like to see the cup come back and actually do the 4 competitions again. And with less teams, you probably would want that because you want more games rather than less games, and rather than have to kind of have teams play each other 5 times. This is if it is 7 teams, obviously. The kind of trophy competition breaks that up a bit, and maybe thrown in a cup competition, perhaps. So I'd probably change. I don't know if I'd bother with the All-Star game. What would I do differently? It's for me. It's now an opportunity to have the finals be a series. Because, like I say, financially with the new ownership, the O2 might be a bit of a tall order in terms of. I'm not sure how it works. Booking that for an afternoon. So yeah, that'd be one of my changes. What I would do differently is it's an opportunity to have a 5-game or a 7-game series final. Obviously, we've got the early rounds. Well, assuming that I'd keep that as well. Then the 3 rounds in the playoffs. But that said, 7 teams, a team gets a bye. The playoffs is going to be a weird situation, unless you just do a final 4. I don't know. Well, what have you got for that one?
And I think it was something that was talked about in the Discord. I think Louis also talked about it being like, how would you do a 7-team league? So, I mean, have you got that question typed up or not really? Before I talk about it
I
now.
have actually.
Oh, that's okay.
I did a lot of copy and pasting. If we get to it, we get to it. If not, the one from Lou I've got is different. But go on.
So what I would do, 17. If it is a 17 league, let's just go off that. Is you go, each team plays 6 other teams home and away 2 times. So it's a 24 league match season. You then have a 7-team cup competition where you play a team, kind of like the NBL, where you play the team in your group either once at home or once away. So that'd be another 3 home games. So we're on 15 home games already. 15 home games, 15 away games. You then
semi-finals and final as well.
So you then from the cup league. So I would either call that the cup or the trophy. I'm bringing back the cup. So say that that's the cup format. So it's 7-team cup competition. The top 2 then just play out a final.
Oh, so you have 2 groups and the top 2 just play a final?
No, just one group of 7. And the top 2 teams from the 6 matches are the finalists.
Okay.
I would then have in my trophy event a knockout draw, and you go, oh, how can you have that with 7 teams? You invite the top team from the ENBL the season before. So whoever won the ENBL, not the NBL, sorry, the NBL in
National
England,
League, yeah,
they get invited or asked if they would like to play in the trophy competition,
and
or
then you have
whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And then you play from a knockout competition from there. So teams would then maybe get an extra home game or away game or whatever. Yep. But all teams would then, at a minimum, that would get them what was that? 30. We get you 31 games minimum from a 17 week. And if you play anyone else too many more times, it becomes a bit dull.
Yeah, that's
a bit repetitive, and that is the only issue. And it's amazing what having one more team can do to that. So yeah, that would be my kind of way of changing it. In terms of things to come back, I went to the All-Star game and it was a bit meh. I enjoyed it. It was the women's All-Star game was the best bit,
They always are, man. Aren't they? They're not. They're not for
and
me. Ross.
you just saw the difference in terms of North and South in terms of the quality of players, in terms of potentially professionalism. The players in the South, largely obviously a couple of the London guys, Bristol guys were all quality, and obviously TJ Atwood were all really classy pros in the day in terms of their professionalism and how they played the game and not jacking stupid shots at times and making it all about them. You wonder, would I take an All-Star game back? I would, but there'd be
After all that, you would.
no, like you would just put more on it in terms of like score targets and yeah, I don't know if anyone like it was in the pre-Aaron Radden scramble, whatever it was. Like players could have used that as an opportunity to really kind of push themselves,
Yeah, sell themselves.
and I don't know if any of them really did. So
I'd argue the only way to kind of put it into it is to put money up.
well, that's true, and that might be further away
MVP
from
money
true.
and team winning money and that kind of stuff.
Obviously I said about bringing back a competition, and I think
Yeah, I agreed with that.
people like a competitive situation as well. In terms of the playoffs, I would just have then of the 7 teams, the top 4 make the playoff.
Yeah.
And then you can do a best of 3 series. A one-off final, maybe. But then if you're having top 4, you're playing a 3-game semi and then 1-game final, doesn't make sense to me. So both to be a best of 3. And then I suppose you make your showpiece finals, your cup and your trophy final.
The only thing I'd say is, and it's just preference, I guess, I would still want a longer playoff. I realise no one essentially would be cut from the playoffs, but you'd be playing for seeding, and the top team for me would get a bye, so you'd still get a quarterfinal situation. You'd get more playoffs essentially, that's the only thing I'd say on that. But yeah, thank you for your question.